This is a highly proliferating, highly aggressive cancer that has to be treated with a high dose chemotherapy, and these are children as well who are affected. The one thing we worry about the most is tumor lysis syndrome, which really is due to as the cancer cells releasing their shall we say dying cancer cells releasing their internal constituents into the blood. Tumor lysis syndrome is a serious metabolic syndrome. So it's a very serious metabolic syndrome. That is characterized by increased potassium, increased phosphorus in the blood, phosphorus, which then reduces calcium, and there is also increased urea or uric acid. And obviously, if we have increased potassium, you then get arrhythmias. You also have renal failure, which then obviously will also lead to resp failure and metabolic acidosis. And if you have reduced calcium, you will then obviously have heart failure and everything really to go with issues with the heart. You will also have it will affect seizures as well in the brain, together with that, and if you have high urea, you will have renal failure, and really renal failure then fits back to all of these. So it's quite serious, really, this syndrome. And one way of managing it is to give prophylaxis, perhaps allopurinol, or oh gosh, I've forgotten the name. Is it? Oh, I've forgotten the name of this drug. And allopurinol will prevent uric acid production, and the other one will solubilize uric acid so that it can then be excreted in the kidney, excreted in urine. So this one is obviously much more important in the sense that when you have this syndrome, you already have high uric acid, so it's better to give this drug so that uric acid can then be excreted. And I suppose it is okay to give allopurinol as well to then stop the production of uric acid, but then really when you already have that, you might just want to get rid of the uric acid that's already there. The downside obviously is that this drug is extremely expensive. treatment can cost up to £50,000, whereas treatment with allopurinol perhaps costs £5. So really, you know, there is that balance. But then these are children, so really does cost, you know, these are children who will look forward to growing up and then contributing to the economy. So really, you know, treating them is much more important than perhaps worrying about you know, the long-term cost. But obviously, you know, we live in a you know, in a funded NHS, and so those decisions have to be made on what is effective and what drug to use. The dosage for the drug in adults is 6 milligrams, and in children it's weighted. You know, you do it based on weight. However, it must not exceed 6 milligrams, and it's given via IV. Allopurinol is given in tablet form, so it's PO. And that is the difference between the two, really. And really the important thing with Burkitt, which I forgot, is that morphologically you see what is called the starry sky cells. These are, although they are called small non-cleaved cells, they are actually medium-sized cells. Not the starry sky. The Burkitt cells are medium-sized cells, which are non-cleaved, and they will have that starry sky appearance. And that starry sky is really the macrophages that have engulfed, you know, that have engulfed or phagocytosed debris from dying cells. Because obviously these, as they are proliferating ever so highly, some of them are dying ever so quickly, and macrophages clean that mess up, and that debris really is what is known as the starry sky. The macrophages that have particles of cells inside them, and those particles can be stained, so it's called tangible because it can be stained, basically. The important thing to mention is that these two drugs, I suppose, you know, it's based on the metabolism of purines, really, as they are metabolized purines. As you metabolize purines, you can start with you know, the ATP there, which will obviously go through steps, which I'm not going to write, as such as ADP, you know, ATP, ADP, AMP. Obviously we know this is adenosine because they are purines, and then go through steps again and become hypoxanthase, and then become xanthase, and then become uric acid, and then the guanine as well starts similarly as GDP. Again, go through steps, guanine, and the enzyme that's inhibited by allopurinol is there, which is xanthase oxidase, and it also acts here as well. So this is the enzyme that's inhibited by allopurinol, And then obviously if you inhibit that enzyme, you do not have uric acid. However, if things have already gone badly, you then activate another enzyme there, which is done by this drug, the R drug. Oh, that's my phone. Unfortunately, I have to take this because this is my lawyer. Hello, Alice.